without any ado, I would like to welcome our first speaker, Van Light. As a sport enthusiast, it's not surprising that today she's going to talk to us about the topic about throwing. We look forward with interest to hear more about her speech from her CC manual, Your Body Speaks. And the title of her speech today is Boy, You Throw Good for a Girl. Van Light.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Humans cannot fly. We cannot swim faster than dolphins. We cannot jump farther than kangaroos. And we cannot run faster than cheetahs. However, we can throw faster and stronger than any other animal. In fact, we're the only animal in the world that can throw with an overhand motion. Now, having this ability, we humans want to further study it so that we can actually throw better and faster. And as part of that study, we've analyzed the differences in the way men and women throw. And this difference has been coined the throwing gap. And what that measures is the differences in speed and differences in distances that men and women throw. So I thought tonight we would review some of the research that's been around and then talk about some of the reasons why men and women throw differently. But first, we need to define what an overhand throwing motion is. Basically, it's taking an object in space, projecting it forward while you extend your elbow, you do an internal rotation of your shoulder, and keeping your upper arm away from the trunk of your body. And in that motion, there are four elements. There's your body position, there's the action of your arm, there's the release point where you release the ball in here. It could be backhanded, but that would be good. We wanted to release it in front, and then the follow through, so that after release it, you do have some action in your body that follows through. That's important. In all those four phases, there's a proper technique that should be practiced, and there's also the timing between putting all those elements together to maximize your accuracy, speed, and distance. Well, the throwing, comparing females and male throwing, has been going on for, can you guess, 50 years. They've been looking at this. And a gentleman at the University of North Texas in Denton, named Jerry Thomas, in his research discovered that by the age 4, boys are outthrowing girls significantly. In fact, the gap is 3 times more than in other sports such as running or jumping. By age 15, most every boy is outthrowing every girl. By 18, the best throwing girl cannot meet the poorest throwing fella in distance or speed. Well, you have to understand, though, that in this research, there's a little bit of an anomaly in that mostly boys, a lot of the boys that have grown up either learning to throw the proper technique of throwing and being able to practice, while girls have not, in general, been able to have that same sort of experience. And so the girls are depicted as throwing as a person that might have never thrown a ball, as to pick up a ball in what we call arming it, where all the action is only coming from the arm, and they might even just step on the same side and you go like that, as opposed to that action. So that you need to consider that. But despite that, As other research has been done around the world in other cultures still, women poorly perform, or perform more, not as well as men. So they tried to equalize a little bit of the variables and decided to study the young Aboriginal Australians. And in that culture, both females and males are hunters. They throw a lot. And that research indicated that, yes, indeed, those women outperform women in other cultures. They did better, but still they did not meet the abilities of their male counterpoints. So let's go to some of the reasons. Well, of course, at some point, size and strength of males is going to prevail. No matter what the technique. But there is a technique, and that's where some interesting research has been done by Mr. Thomas. So I thought we'd review a little bit about the mechanics of throwing in more detail. And I still have 2 more balls. Okay. So in throwing, this is basically going from a kind of set up position where you get your body turned where it's perpendicular to the point you want to throw. Then you step, rotate your hips, comes your shoulder action, then your arm follows through with the release and fall. And what they found, though, in teaching women this technique is that oftentimes women rotate their hips and shoulder at the same time. So you're here, and the movement is like doing that instead of, watch closely, it's a very fine, you step, hip, rotate, and then throw. And so this Terry Thomas I thought was funny, said, yes, indeed, women are trainable. I'm so glad to know that. And that we can segment that movement where we move your hips first and then your shoulder. But even with that ability, Thomas's research has shown that men still can rotate that motion faster than women. And his reason, he really thinks there's a neurological reason for that, and more specifically that's due to an evolutionary reason. So what does this mean? What can we glean from this information? That probably we're going to have to wait another 50 years before we really know